for aha Ghanatube so me mama kwaba and back channel way so and I'm when say someone who draw a course or my gun no eno ena e de ebe usia for ma hopoa e se ba komienu bi abe say yenkotie usia for dimechi na yenkotie ensem.
What Ꞇonfusion said.
It's unfortunate that the Supreme Court will give a verdict like this when it's so obvious to every Ghanaian that this particular issue do not really need any interpretation because black and white. Any class 6 child can interpret, can just read it and understand. But they decided to have an interpretation. Unfortunately, their interpretation, if you do random sampling of many Ghanaians, they will tell you they are not happy with the Supreme Court's decision. We don't care about the ruling of the Supreme Court. We will respond to a call by the Speaker of Parliament. And we will sit down and evaluate that call, look at the timing, and see whether it is convenient for us to take that decision to leave our constituencies and come and sit down in Parliament to do government business. I can say this is the decision of many of us on our platform from the discussions we've had so far since the verdict came out. Majority, close to 99% of us, have decided not to respond to any call.
Too late, better late than never. Professor Ransford Jampo is a professor of political science at the University of Ghana, Legon. Professor Jampo, you've seen this statement from the majority leader, Alexander Fenyom-Makin. It sounds clearly one that is reconciliatory, at least based on what we have seen in that statement. Is it one that it would make a significant difference as things stand out now?
Yeah, the point is, if he knows how to sound reconciliatory, he should have sounded this right from the word go before going to Parliament. He should have gone to caucus with his colleagues to let them know. You see, it is today that you are in power. Tomorrow, if you go out of power, it will be the same. And at the end of the day, it is our democracy that will suffer. And so my view is that the matter has not been resolved yet, because I can anticipate and foresee some NDC members of Parliament also saying that, well, in that case, they will also not be part of Parliament to give the needed quorum for important decisions to be taken for government business to run. And all these things do not augur well for our democracy. And so I am thinking that if there are elderly men and women in the Ghanaian society, let them rise up and let them intervene, and let's see how we can address this matter. Otherwise, look, the matter has not been resolved at all.
You said the matter has not been resolved at all. Dr. Rashid Draman, Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, is joining us as well on Zoom right now. You agree, Professor Jampo, that this matter, even though it's been resolved, appears legally, it is far from over?
Yes, Alfred, thank you very much for having me. Maybe first of all, let me commend the majority leader for his statement today, which, I mean, by all means, is a departure from earlier statements that you have played for all of us to hear. I think this is what, I mean, we all wanted to hear right from day one. This, as we've all said many times, it's a political issue and needed exactly what he is saying today: reconciliation, coming together, uniting the country, and so on and so forth. In terms of whether the matter is over or not, I just hope that now that the Supreme Court has stated clearly what his position is on this matter, I hope both sides would, including the Speaker as well, would abide by the ruling, even if anybody disagrees, because we are a country of rule of law. Maybe the NDC side might not be happy, but I think one thing that they would have to remember is that, if you are a minority party, you are a government in waiting, and you have to demonstrate that as well in everything that you do. So much as they might not agree with the Supreme Court, we only have just a few weeks to go for Ghanaians to decide who is going to lead us and who is going to be majority and minority in Parliament. So in that spirit, Alfred, I hope that we will all leave the past behind us and try to come together and do the business of our country.
Obviously shared by Alexander Afenimaki in this statement, but it appears that something more than just this statement would have to take place in, as it were, extending the overtures to the other side to move on beyond this particular ruling. As you have indicated, it may have just been solved legally, but then again, they would need the other side to do business. And from the indication we're getting already, the NDC, some MPs have already started taking a position. Neil Antevandapoy, the outgoing member of parliament for the Ododo constituency, spoke to us earlier. He had indicated that a number of his colleagues have also resolved not to partake in the business of the House if Parliament is recalled, because they are all looking at the elections and matters arising. We're going to take a listen to him, and I'll seek your thoughts on this. This is what Neil Antevandapoy said.
It's unfortunate that the Supreme Court will give a verdict like this when it's so obvious to every Ghanaian that this particular issue do not really need any interpretation, because black and white, any class 6 child can interpret, can just read it and understand. But they decided to have an interpretation. Unfortunately, their interpretation, if you do random sampling of many Ghanaians, they will tell you they are not happy with the Supreme Court's decision. We don't care about the ruling of the Supreme Court. We will respond to a call by the Speaker of Parliament, and we will sit down and evaluate that call, look at the timing, and see whether it is convenient for us to take that decision to leave our constituencies and come and sit down in Parliament to do government business. I can say this is the decision of many of us on our platform. From the discussions we've had so far since the verdict came out, majority, close to 99% of us, have decided not to respond to any call.
Well, so Dr. Sidraman, there you have it. What then has to be done beyond this statement? Because it's clear what Neil Antevandapoy is saying there.
Well, I think, tempers might be very high now. I mean, this is an emotional issue, Alfred, and I can understand, the position of the NDC. But I think in this matter, I would hope that they will let Ghanaians be the judges in this matter. Particularly as we get to December 7. I believe all these are going to contribute to the way people will decide in terms of when they have the ballot in their hands. Remember, Alfred, we had 2 instances where the stakes were even much higher than this. When the current president went to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court ruled against him, he said, I disagree, but I respect the court's ruling. The country moved on. The former president went to the court, the same thing happened. He disagreed with the court, but, accepted the verdict of the court. I think that is how we should behave as Democrats. And I think that even the Right Honorable Speaker, when I believe he recalls Parliament, perhaps we might hear him say his reading is different from the Supreme Court, but he accepts that. So I would appeal to the NDC, let Ghanaians be the judges in this matter. We have just about 2 weeks. Let them come to the House. Let's see if the numbers are there, so that whatever business that is left, that they can, consensually work on let them work on it, and let's end the tenure of this 8th Parliament in peace. And then on December 7, Ghanaians will decide whether the NDC will be majority or the MPP will be majority.
Your time. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
You will see a form of some moody which my coty and send no bet me and will comment no abreme. Na Medibre Akinka Edia Mofe for me guy say channel we so Ghanatube so on subscribe and subscribe. Hit on the notification bell for quick updates. Abidjan for CCAD. Macram.